When I put on Meta Quest 3 for the very first time, I couldn't believe what I saw. A couple weeks ago, I was invited to fly to New York for an exclusive early hands-on demo of Quest 3, and there is so much I want to tell you about this headset because some of the things legitimately shocked me. I've spent the last 2 weeks collecting my thoughts, processing and organizing everything I've experienced, and put all of this together in this video so that by the time you've finished watching it, you will feel like you have already experienced Quest 3 yourself. And soon you might, because I decided to give one lucky Disco VR subscriber a brand new Quest 3. I will buy it with my own money because I want to spread the VR joy. This is truly an exciting time for VR. To enter, be subscribed to Disco VR on YouTube, leave a comment telling me why you want Quest 3, and add a hashtag I want Quest 3 to your comment. The winner will be announced in the community post on the Disco VR channel YouTube page on October the 10th, so make sure you don't miss it. I tried 6 different VR and MR experiences, some of which were quite impressive, while others completely blew me away. And that's because of the quite remarkable specs on Quest 3. It features the 4K plus infinite display, meaning it has 2 displays, 2064 by 2008 resolution per eye, combined with Meta's infinite display optical stack. This resolution is a nearly 30% leap compared to Meta Quest 2. And just like Quest Pro, Quest 3 rocks pancake lenses, which is what makes this headset so thin, sleek, and lightweight. Say what you want about Quest Pro, but it had pretty outstanding visuals compared to Quest 2. So imagine those same amazing lenses on Quest 3, but with higher resolution. What I saw in Quest 3 looked ridiculously good, and not just because of the resolution. Quest 3 packs the newest Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2, which delivers 2 times faster graphic performance, and that brings enough power to support heavy applications, some of which I had a chance to test. And I guess the only somewhat disappointing part about the specs was the field of view, 110 horizontal, 96 vertical, which I found to be very similar visually to Quest 2. I couldn't make a side-by-side comparison, but from what I saw, it might be only a few degrees wider than on Quest 2. And as for Quest Pro, it was honestly very difficult to tell if it had any difference at all. Field of view is the only aspect of Quest 3 where we do not see a giant leap compared to Meta's predecessors. The first thing I saw when I put on Quest 3 was my surroundings in mixed reality, and oh my god, I will never forget this moment. I have never felt so present in the real world before while having a VR headset on the way I did while wearing Quest 3. The quality of this pass-through is phenomenal, and it is so much better than on Quest Pro. The 2 RGB cameras provide over 10 times more pixels in pass-through compared to Quest 2 and 3 times more pixels compared to Quest Pro. And the colors were outstanding, not at all like on Quest Pro where you feel like those colors were sort of overlaid on top of the black and white pass-through. And the depth sensor is creating all the magic you see, where you can walk, run, jump around in the space without the fear of knocking things over because the depth projection is so accurate. It is almost one-to-one with the real life. I'm telling you, Quest 3 is going to make you a believer in the future of mixed reality. It is simply stunning. But while I do say that this is the best quality pass-through that I have ever seen, I don't mean that it's the best possible. I still saw some occasional distortions, mainly at the edges of the screen, which are way easier to tolerate compared to the distortions of Quest 2 and even Quest Pro, but they are still there and they are not completely gone. And there's still some fuzziness that you notice when the room is not very well lit. So there is still room for growth, but compared to everything else available on the market, it definitely is the best quality I've ever seen. One mixed reality experience I tried is called First Encounters, which is basically the new user experience tutorial for Quest 3, featuring mixed reality. It allowed me to see the room mapping feature in action. I simply looked around the room and Quest 3 mapped everything in the room. The walls, the ceiling, the furniture, everything, and all in just a matter of seconds. And then that experience or that little game actually interacts with your real room in a very realistic way. Remember that experience called the World Beyond that allows you to set up your room and then you open up portals in your real world leading to virtual reality. First Encounters kind of does that, but way cooler. Using blasters, you can break through the actual walls in your room, your ceiling, and open up the space behind it, shooting these little fuzzy creatures. What completely blew me away here is that thanks to scene understanding and scene anchors, these little creatures could understand what real objects were in the room and hide behind them. They were hiding behind real chairs and tables as if they were virtual objects, and you had to lean down and shoot them. This is the mixed reality in the truest form, where real and virtual worlds collide, and I am here for it. I also tried my favorite upcoming game, Stranger Things VR, and that one combines the mixed reality gameplay with fully immersive VR. At the beginning of the game, you find your room slowly falling apart, and it reveals the upside down behind it. It was really impressive and really creepy. In this game, you play as Vecna from Stranger Things Season 4, and there is a unique way of grabbing, crushing, and throwing your opponents, such as Demogorgon mostly, using telekinesis. However, that part was tricky, because if you use hand tracking, I found it really difficult to select the enemy and activate the telekinesis. Something about like selecting it with your hand, you need to aim it exactly at where the enemy stands, and I don't think that was a problem with hand tracking per se, but mostly maybe with the way the game is programmed. And I hope that the developers of the game will take this into consideration and fix it to make it a little bit easier to play. But the game that left most lasting impression on me was Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. Yes, I got to try it, and holy shit, I could not believe the scale of this open world game where you can go anywhere you freaking want. It's not a fake open world like Horizon on PSVR 2 where your progression is very linear, but it felt truly enormous. You can parkour and climb freely across maps in Renaissance Italy, colonial America, and ancient Greece as you decide how to achieve your objectives. You use your real-world motions to thrust your blades, throw your axe, and wield your bow in a combat. Some signature assassin stealth tricks are still present, like moving stealthily, hiding within the environments, or blending in amongst civilians. I was even able to find a spot within the game on the rooftop where I could perform the leap of faith and drop from the highest rooftop into the haystack and hide from guards. In the short time I played it, Assassin's Creed seemed ridiculously good, and that's the game that best demonstrates the dazzling upgrade that Quest 3 got in terms of its specs. And I fully expect Assassin's Creed to be the game of the year. I also managed to test the advanced haptics of the Touch Plus controllers. In the game called Samo De Amigo, your controllers imitate maracas, and you shake them to the rhythm of those groovy songs. It's hard to describe it, but somehow the Touch Plus controllers managed to imitate the feeling of the sand shaking around in your virtual maracas. I found that really cool, and Samo De Amigo was probably the best game to demonstrate the precise haptics on these new controllers. I'm not sure if they are better than Quest Pro controllers, but definitely a vast improvement from Quest 2. With the exception of Assassin's Creed, the mixed reality experiences took the cake in my demo testing. I could not get over how good and real the surroundings looked and felt with the depth sensor. It makes me so excited about the future of mixed reality experiences. One other game I played was called BAM, which featured probably the most simplistic gameplay, but it's the game that I see myself playing for hours and hours at a time and coming back for more. It's basically a fast-paced multiplayer battle game in mixed reality on a tabletop arena. And I just love playing it with other content creators in mixed reality because we were sitting around the real table with a virtual arena being projected on top of it. It has a simple yet oh so addictive gameplay, and the ability to see your friends' reactions is priceless. This is pretty much a similar principle of the new mixed reality mode in Adimo, where you can play this tabletop board game with your friends while being in the real space and being able to see their faces. And these are just a few of many mixed reality experiences that will be coming to Quest 3 in the near future, and if there ever was a time to get pumped up for virtual and mixed realities, it is definitely now. I've spent about 2 hours in total hands-on with Quest 3, and although Meta already released official accessories like the Elite Strap, it was the original soft strap that I tried, and surprisingly, I found it reasonably decent. The combination of the lightweight of the headset and a fork-like design on the back made it easy enough to adjust and put it on and keep it comfortably on my face. Sure, I would still prefer wearing the Elite Strap or the Halo type strap, but still, I actually found the soft strap on Quest 3 way more comfortable than the one on Quest 2. So that was good news, because when you try it, there is a very high chance that you'll be like, okay, I can live with that. And that will save you $70 that you would otherwise have to spend on the Elite Strap. Lastly, we gotta talk about the price and storage options. Quest 3 is released with only 2 storage options, 128 gig for $499 US and 512 gigs for $649. In 2023, 128 gig version is pretty much the equivalent of the 64 gig version of Quest 2 sold in 2020. As you might remember, that storage option was later discontinued because the VR gaming landscape has improved so much that 64 gigs simply wasn't enough storage for many games. I suspect that the same destiny awaits the 128 gig version of Quest 3, and Meta is pushing their customers to buy a larger and more expensive version of their headset. Apple does it with literally all their products. I feel like this is a pretty common practice, although I really hate it. Quest 2 really needed the 256 version, but we don't get it. With games like Assassin's Creed and Asgard's Wrath 2, both of which will unbelievably run on a standalone mode, I wouldn't be surprised that just a couple of such massive games will fill up your 128 gigs very soon. Although it still makes it a very good deal for someone who mostly wants to use Quest 3 for PC VR gaming. What's interesting is that with Quest 3 purchase, you will also get Asgard's Wrath 2 for free, and the 512 gig version will also get you a 6-month MetaQuest Plus subscription. Looks like they really want everyone to experience Asgard's Wrath 2. My god, I cannot wait for it. So what haven't I been able to test yet? PC VR connectivity with Wi-Fi 6E. I haven't had a chance to play with different Quest 3 settings, battery life, although approximate battery life has been provided, and I haven't tried any official Quest 3 accessories. Drop your burning questions about MetaQuest 3 down in the description so that they are included in the deep dive review of Quest 3 that I will create once I receive this headset. Thanks for watching, and see you very soon!